In this podcast episode, Dr. Lisa Miller, a psychologist and professor at Columbia University and author of The Awakened Brain, explores the science of spirituality and its profound impact on mental health, resilience, and finding purpose. The conversation delves into the intersection of spirituality and science, the protective benefits of a spiritual life against depression and addiction, and practical ways to awaken and nurture spiritual awareness. Dr. Miller offers insights on how spirituality can guide us through life's challenges, emphasizing the importance of listening to inner wisdom, recognizing synchronicities, and embracing an awakened state of consciousness. Dr. Miller addresses the long-standing divide between science and spirituality, highlighting how the two are not inherently opposed but can complement each other. She explains that science acts as a lens, a tool for witnessing reality through methods like MRI scans, allowing researchers to objectively study spirituality, which is often viewed as intangible. Through rigorous scientific methods, spirituality is shown to be a natural, inborn human capacity supported by specific neural circuits in the brain, thus grounding spiritual experiences in biological reality. This synthesis demystifies spirituality, making it accessible to even those who identify strongly with scientific rationalism. According to Dr. Miller, every human is born naturally spiritual, possessing dedicated brain circuits for spiritual awareness. This innate spirituality is about perceiving that we are loved, held, and never alone. While 1/3 of spiritual awareness is biologically hardwired, 2/3 are shaped by environmental and social factors, meaning we have an active role in cultivating and strengthening this spiritual capacity. Spirituality, therefore, is not merely a belief or abstract concept, but a fundamental mode of perception and awareness embedded in our brains. Strong spiritual engagement provides significant protection against some of the most pressing mental health crises today, including addiction, depression, and suicide. Dr. Miller cites data showing spirituality's powerful buffering effects, with an 80% reduction in addiction risk, 90% protection against depression, and an 82% reduction related to suicidal tendencies when individuals cultivate their spiritual lives. Far from being merely comforting, spirituality enhances resilience by offering a framework through which individuals can find meaning and guidance amid suffering. Rather than seeing depression and anxiety solely as medical conditions, Dr. Miller frames them as doorways to spiritual awakening. Suffering is a call to widen our perspective, opening the aperture to receive deeper insights into life's meaning and divine presence. When encountered with a spiritual response, such as asking what higher power is guiding one through pain or practicing forgiveness, this process activates brain regions linked to spiritual awareness, helping build resilience for future hardships. Depression in this light becomes not a detour, but an essential part of the spiritual path. Spirituality, as described by Dr. Miller, is the inborn perception that we are deeply loved, guided, and connected to a greater whole. This awareness is supported by 3 distinct brain networks: the bonding system that conveys a sense of being loved and held, attentional networks that provide guidance, and regions that mediate a sense of being never truly alone, but part of something larger. Cultivating this natural spiritual awareness is akin to training a muscle, requiring intention and practice, but offering rich rewards in life's meaning and connectedness. Many people hesitate to engage with spirituality, citing lack of time or feeling self-sufficient. Dr. Miller challenges this view by emphasizing that spirituality is not just a luxury or optional extra, but a fundamental source of energy, healing, and clarity in life. She also dispels the misconception that spirituality means passively handing over life's problems. Instead, spirituality involves active participation, taking guidance from the universe, but implementing choices with strategy and effort, harmonizing inspired direction, awakened awareness, with worldly action, achieving awareness. A spiritual life deeply enriches experiences of love, showing people how seemingly improbable meetings or relationships may be divinely guided. However, spirituality also involves commitment and effort within relationships, calling for love, especially when partners are difficult or distant. Dr. Miller stresses that spirituality can be present even if only one partner pursues the path. It invites compassion, rather than judgment. Spiritual awakening entails expanding the radius of care and embracing imperfections in oneself and others. Dr. Miller emphasizes that authentic spirituality integrates with all facets of life, including work and finances. The mistake many make is compartmentalizing spirituality as separate from professional life. Bringing spiritual values into the workplace leads to ethical decision-making, longer-term sustainability, and often unexpected abundance. Not necessarily material wealth, but richness in meaning and relationships. Spirituality animates how one shows up in the world, making work a sacred endeavor, regardless of the job. Far from being passive or escapist, spirituality is described as an active force that can fuel social engagement, ethical conduct, and the spiritual fight for justice and goodness. Dr. Miller sees current global challenges as birthing pains of a collective awakening, and she expresses empirically grounded hope that humanity is on the cusp of a more spiritually centered society. Individual awakenings, when multiplied, can transform institutions and cultural systems. Dr. Miller introduces a metaphorical exercise contrasting the stuck red door with the open yellow door. The red door represents the frustration and disappointment when things don't go as planned, causing suffering and feeling stuck. The yellow door symbolizes unexpected, better opportunities that arise when we let go of control and remain open to new directions. Recognizing trail angels, helping figures, or synchronicities invites us to follow spiritual guidance and embrace the adventure of life beyond rigid expectation. Another practice Dr. Miller shares invites listeners to imagine a spiritual council with supportive figures, living or deceased mentors, higher selves, and a higher power to receive love and guidance. This visualization helps individuals reconnect with their spiritual knowing and personal support system. Families and relationships can be enriched by sharing such spiritual dialogues, which support mental well-being and reduce despair. Children, in particular, benefit from having their own natural spirituality authorized and nurtured by caregivers. Dr. Miller stresses the importance of protecting and cultivating children's innate spirituality. Scientific studies show that children are natural knowers, often sensing continuity of consciousness and spiritual realities unless socialized out of it. Parents can support this by validating children's experiences, sharing their own spiritual journeys honestly, inviting conversation about the sacred, and introducing regular transcendental practices. This foundation becomes a lifelong resource for resilience and purpose. While closely related, spirituality is described as the inborn capacity for connection and awareness of the divine or greater reality, while religion is the culturally transmitted system of beliefs and rituals specific to traditions. Many people identify as spiritual but not religious, and both are valid pathways to honoring the underlying spiritual core. Encouraging personal, authentic spiritual experiences rather than dogmatic beliefs fosters deeper growth and well-being. Dr. Miller's work bridges psychotherapy and spirituality, arguing that effective mental health care must integrate spiritual awareness. Psychotherapy that honors a person's spiritual core invites reflection beyond cognitive strategies to embrace transcendent meaning and guidance. Such approaches widen the lens from past experiences to include intuition and awakening, helping people navigate and transform suffering rather than merely suppress symptoms. Developing spiritual awareness sharpens one's ability to discern authentic intuition from fear or ego-driven impulses. With practice, individuals become pitch perfect at listening to their inner guidance and acting on it. Acting on synchronicities and spiritual promptings often leads to external unfolding of solutions or opportunities, reinforcing trust in awakened awareness as a reliable compass for life's decisions. Dr. Miller emphasizes that each person's true purpose is revealed rather than invented, unfolding through spiritual guidance and inner calling. By tuning into this awakened awareness, people align with a deeper mission that transcends superficial ambitions or societal expectations. Spirituality allows one to live a life far richer, unexpected, and inspired beyond the shopping list mentality of achievement and acquisition. Dr. Miller notes that spirituality does not require adherence to a particular concept of God. One's language or theology is secondary to the fundamental experience of connection with the guiding life force. Spirituality invites open listening to that presence, whatever name or form it takes, and to trust that it is alive and active in everyday moments. The conversation ends with encouragement to embrace spiritual awakening as accessible to everyone. By practicing attentiveness to synchronicities, honoring inner knowing, and engaging in spiritual dialogue through practices like the red and yellow door or the spiritual council, listeners can deepen their connection to a loving, guiding universe and transform how they experience their life's journey.